check. Test 1, 2. Okay, that looks good. Let me check over here, make sure we got good audio. Hopefully the video is better tonight. Looks like it is.
Check, test.
Oh yeah, great sound. Hey there. So glad everybody could join me tonight. We'll get started here in just a minute. I usually like to wait a few minutes for folks to get attached. In the interim, we'll slip over here and check out who all's in the chat room tonight. Got Gary in from Arizona. Hi, Gare. Ben Demby. Hey, Ben. Looks like you got in on your phone even, it looks like. But good to see you here. Linda, a.k.a. Camp Goer 1's in. Hi, Linda. Tim Myers and Kevin Coop both in. Glad to have you guys here. George, a.k.a. Dad, chilling out in LaBelle, Florida, listening to Cat Stevens. I actually happen to be listening to Pink Floyd as my pre-show mood setter. Let's see. George says his security cam's alerted back home. A son was plying the driveway. Nah, that's why you have sons, right? Yeah, and we've had a lot of snow here the last, I don't know what it is. I guess it was Saturday. Saturday, we were back to mostly bare grass other than where the snow had been piled. And today we're back to another 8 inches or so. It's just been snow, and they're calling for a lot more for us. I know Tom Downey's over there at Whidbey, which puts him right there on the west coast. But from the weather I saw, the weather's all coming up over the top of you and coming down off the Continental Divide through would be southwest Montana and northeast Idaho. So yeah. Last night they had a lot of roads closed because of wind. Still here reviewing the comments just to say hey, good evening. And Tom's checked in. Vincent RV Life says they got spotty internet at this state park. Yeah, it might be time to check out a cell booster there, Bruce. If you don't have one already, they're a good investment. But I totally get spotty internet. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Let's catching up. Hi, John Besmick is in. EJ Weiss. So good to see you guys as well. We haven't seen Judy for a while. I wonder what happened to Judy. Oh, there's Judy. Hi, Judy. Glad to see you checking in. We missed you last week. Vincent RV Life, a.k.a. Bruce. Oh, Gary D's in. Okay, we mentioned that, and I think I got John. But he says, after the previous live stream, he got me digging through my Thor owner's manual to make sure I was doing the leveling slide-out process correctly. My manual says level first, then slide out. In general, this has been an argument in forums since the beginning of time. And I think it's a better deal to level and then put the slide outs out. And some people want to put the slide outs out and then level. Follow your owner's manual. I know that Newmar, the manufacturer of my previous Class A, was a level slide out procedure, but if you press their text real hard, they said it really didn't matter. But if we think through this logically a little bit, I think that leveling makes it easier for your slide outs to go in and out, particularly if you're not in a level situation, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think level then slide out is the appropriate order. Two Feathers in. Hi, Two. Good to see you. Oh, look at that. Camp Gore says she found a homemade slide in that might fit her Dakota. That's cool. Eric Myers checking in. Good. Tom Downey, talk to me about how to boost the HP on my 8.3 ISC CAPS system. Chip it. Contact a diesel specialist, and they can surely get you a chip or do a tune for you. With not much trouble. But the only way I know how to do it is basically chip it, which reprograms the computer. The issue will be is oftentimes if you chip them, okay, what we mean by chipping them is that you're changing the code that goes into the computer itself that controls, the electronic components of the engine. That sometimes they won't pass emissions after they've been chipped. And in fact, I've seen some that were so sophisticated that there was a toggle switch. And so if you were going to get your emissions, you flip the toggle switch, would put it back into the old mode, which got you basically emissions legal. And then when you wanted to go hot rodding, you could flip the switch and it would kick the new code in and cause the engine performance management characteristics to get changed and increase the horsepower output. Oh yeah, Camp Gore 1 Linda. Camp Gore 1 says the wind is the issue in Quartzsite and Phoenix. People in Quartzsite this winter are not happy. I know, it's been cold. I know several people that are down there. Our good friend Jim Bertrand, who is in and out on the streams, is down there right now. And it's been nasty at Quartzsite this winter. It's been cold and windy and rainy, though, pretty much all over southern Arizona. Still better than what I've got here, Linda, Camp Gore 1. Yeah, Kevin Jaco says level, slide out, level. Yeah, and that's typically what you end up having to do anyway, because sometimes when you put the slide out, it'll reload the weight distribution on the jacks. And if you're in any kind of soft conditions at all, that is a good idea to re-level. I think it's a good idea to re-level anyway. I would re-level, well, mostly because when I would park for the winter, I would do my maintenance monthly. Start the engine up, run the generator, pull the jacks up and down, completely extend them, bring them back up. Just work through the kind of mechanical things that I could do without leaving my spot. And then slide in and out as well, just to keep things working good. And so I got a chance to re-level about once a month. And once I got my level set, if you're in good solid ground, oftentimes you don't have to retouch the level. Hold on here a minute, please. Excuse me. Oh, there's one thing I forgot. Kevin Myers, need to get to SoCal, can't get there, gonna stay in Yuma. Yeah, I don't know if you can get over the mountains down there right now, can you? I heard that, what's that mountain on I-8 going out of Yuma into San Diego? El Cajon Pass. I heard that was pretty rotten. Sam Allen's checking in. Hey, Sam, good to see you tonight. Tim Myers says Winnebago is level first. Yeah, I think generally they want you to level first and then put your slides out. Kevin Coop, check 5-star tunes. They've been doing RVs for many years. There you go. Tim Myers says he was going to chip his 5.9 Cummins and raise it to 325, but the transmission is limited to 300, which is what he's running. So, yeah, you want to watch that. Tom says BTDT chips and programmers no longer support this engine. Yeah, I bet you could go find an old tuner, somebody that's been doing it a lot longer than some of these young guys who think they can tune. I'll bet you'll find somebody that can tune that up for you, especially where you're at, Tom, over there on the West Coast. You may have to get off the island, but I bet you could find a tuner over there. But like I say, find an old guy tuner, guy with hair like us, with, lots of smarts in it. Gary says more wind in Arizona, and Camp Gore says, yeah, very cold. She's become wimpy. Yeah, I'll swap you any day. It's 26 right now, but they're calling for more snow overnight. John Besmick asks, anyone make a low battery sensor that would start the generator to bring batteries back up and shut it off? Ready to do it again. Yes. There are several manufacturers. You might. The most common ones are integrated or add-ons for your inverter. Okay? So your inverter charger. Or your inverter, well, generally inverter charger, but yes, there are, and there are standalone ones that are available. I'll have to do a little research on them. I don't remember them because the ones I looked at and the one I had in my Class A, my Newmar, was integrated with the inverter. But what I would need to know, John, is what is your generator? We'd need to know the model number of your generator, and then we could probably go look one up that will meet your needs. But yeah, they're readily available, John. They're called generator auto start, low battery generator auto start. So yeah. I'll put a note here for myself, and towards the end of the stream, if we have a moment, we'll see what we can come up with. I know Kevin has his granddaughters there, and he sent a question today, so I'm going to go ahead and jump over here to Kevin's question. That's Kevin Coop. Mostly so he can go spend time with your granddaughters, unless they're in bed. He says he needs some advice on adhesives for sticking plywood to styrofoam and sticking fiberglass to plywood. My son's slide out was leaking. He didn't check it, and now he has a wet delaminated wall and his Flagstaff fiberglass exterior travel trailer. Okay. Fiberglass to plywood, any decent contact adhesive will work. Plywood to foam board, that depends on the type of foam you're using, because there are several others. The key there is to get a water-based or a latex adhesive. Okay? So anything you're doing with foam, it's just like you don't want to have any solvent type adhesives come in contact with the foam because it'll melt it. Okay, so when I say solvent type, I mean, like acetone-based, any of the solvents, any of the petroleum solvents, you want to avoid all those as far as your adhesives go. Polyurethane contact adhesive is very popular, rather expensive. Let's see, there's a brand called, is it Red? Let me think about it for just a minute. Poly adhesive. I can't remember the name of the one I'm trying to recall right off the top of my head, Kevin, as far as the polyurethane contact adhesive. But if memory serves me correctly, it was a water-based, and it was the one that was recommended by AZ Expert. If you go search on YouTube for AZ Expert, and I think if you look for Winnebago wall replacement, will get you to the video that he put out of them replacing the Phylon, the exterior on a Winnebago, and gluing it back down to the foam and doing all that. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Gary says he's got the Smarter SO3 on his 5.9 Cummins. Cool. John Besmick, owning 10 kilowatt diesel in a Holiday Rambler Navigator. Okay. Do you happen to know what kind of inverter you have? Inverter charger you have, John? Question mark. Tom Downey said, said we're talking about chipping. They tell me the EPA has put them out of business. That's why I say go find an old guy that knows real tuning that doesn't have to use the chip. Because way before they had chips, back in the era of that engine, there were guys out there that had figured out how to beef them, up the horsepower on them, change the computer stuff. Camp Gore one says, wasn't I contemplating a move towards Tucson, warmer there? Yeah, I'm still contemplating that, Linda. But it probably won't be anytime, maybe late next year. I don't know at this point. Yeah, it would be nice. Something I've been thinking about ever since I left down there. I did really like the Tucson area, and so it's definitely high on my list of places to move back to. Gary, though, sent me a bunch of information about the area he lives out there in Del Webb, and that looked like a really nice place. And I'm exploring my options, but I'll probably end up in the Southwest, mostly because I don't care for the humidity in the Southeast. Hi, Montana Boy 3777 is in. Glad to see you here. Camp Gore one says, my generator hasn't started since I bought the rig. Well, if I ever get moved down that way, Linda, we'll get your generator working. How's that sound? And Tim did post a link there for Cummins generators. That's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, if you, it's no big deal, but yeah, that would be very helpful, John, if I had the inverter. Just because I want to make sure that your inverter manufacturer doesn't make an add-on auto start attachment, which would be the optimal way to go about this. But otherwise, yeah, you can get them. They're not that difficult to come up with. Tim says, sounds like the glue Winnie uses for their roof. Yeah, in fact, it's red polyurethane contact adhesive, but I think it's the color red. It's not, the name of the company isn't red or anything like that. I'll have to look that up. Poly adhesive, I got it on there. 10 kilowatt Onan, got that there. Sorry. San Antonio was 19. Yeah. That's cold. Yeah, that foam will melt with the wrong kind of adhesive for sure. Okay, so I've been working on some stuff here, and starting next week, I'm going to change the format of the live stream a little bit, and I'm going to kind of do it in sections, like a news show and stuff like that. But one of the things that popped up is, for those of you with Starlink has stopped roaming for internet for RV'ers. And I know a lot of RV'ers who are really, really upset about this right now, because it was a good solution for at least full-timers. But yeah, it sounds to me like that Starlink, not only did they raise their price to like $150 a month now, but that the portability, their roaming feature has been disabled and will no longer be available. So I'm not sure why or how. I read that in the newspaper. Was that Friday, Wednesday, Thursday? It must have been Thursday last week. It was about a week ago that they made the announcement. So that's got to make a lot of people upset. But anyway, so what I thought I'd do is for the first couple minutes, we'll do what we normally do. We'll just kind of chat around, catch up with everybody. And then we'll talk about some RV type news that I think might be of interest to folks. And then there'll be a kind of a common topic that we'll discuss. Those topics could range, anything from, why gas over diesel, those types of things. And then some tips and tricks that we'll share amongst the viewers. And then, of course, your questions in the chat window are always welcome. And we'll intersperse your questions as they come in through the content. So, to that end, I do have a question for you all tonight. And that is, if you were giving advice to brand new RVer, somebody who just got an RV, has never RV'd before in their life, what would that advice be? In other words, what kind of advice would you give an new RVer that you wish you knew before you started, or wish you knew when you started? Throw your comment over there in the window, and we'll chat about them as they come in. I saw a couple questions roll in here. But yeah, I would definitely be interested in what advice the people who are here would give new RV owners or people contemplating RVing, getting into RVing. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, Tim Meyer says, most of the newer inverters have the Jenny start relay, but you need to know where to connect the Jenny. Yeah, and a lot of, like the auto start kits that are available for generators, they walk you through where to connect them. It is tricky on some of them, and then it requires a fair amount of tuning, okay, fiddling with settings, because when you're starting a generator, if the generator doesn't start, you don't want to sit there and keep cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking on it, okay, because that could damage the generator. There could be a different problem with the generator why it won't start, and so attempting to start it can be problematic. And all that kind of stuff you have to set up in the device, in the generator auto start setup. So it's not just a matter of setting the level of when you want it to turn on, 12.2 volts or something like that. But you got to go in and you got to tune it specific to the generator. And if the generator doesn't have the feature already pre-wired, then you have to go in and actually wire up to the generator, to various points in the generator. Now, the kits that I have seen will tell you how to do that, but it's pretty detailed work. And so if you're not comfortable doing electrical work, it may not be as straightforward as it sounds, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Montana Boy says, I have the same thing here, got this rig, but the generator not working. All the videos I am seeing on the Onan 4000 is simple maintenance and removing the gunk in the carburetor. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a control box in the Onan 4s that, has a lot to do with it, the voltage regulation and those sorts of things. Cleaning up the carb is absolutely imperative. In fact, Kevin Coop and Tim and I offline on email were chatting about that, and Kevin used a bunch of seafoam in his generator to improve its reliability, to improve it so that it starts more reliably It's well known that alcohol, ethanol in gasoline can cause some corrosion and crudding up of the carburetor, of the jets, of those sorts of things. Another common problem, usually after they're starting though, with the Onan 4000s is vapor lock. The fuel hoses run too close to the exhaust, either the exhaust of the generator or the exhaust of the RV, the motor coach itself. And so yeah, you got to get you got to rewire out those hoses, wrap them with some aluminum, get them away from the heat so that they don't overheat. And that's a good those are good tips. But yeah, cleaning out the carb and those sorts of things are a really good start on getting them to start and run properly. But then, of course, there's ignition parts and various other things. It's an internal combustion engine. And so just like other internal combustion engines, there's, bits and pieces of, electronics in there that control spark and those sorts of things that sometimes will fail. A real quick Google search on the Onan 4000. Do a Google search on Onan 4000 troubleshooting, and you'll get an owner's manual, and it will have step-by-step instructions on how to troubleshoot that generator so that it starts more reliably, or it starts at all. Okay, so let's see. Okay, remove the junk, yeah. Camp Glory 1 asked this question. When I asked EcoFlow how much solar can I use maximum for the 1300, that's the EcoFlow 1300, that's a portable battery station that Camp Glory 1's talking about. They said 400. I'd rather have one 400 than multiple. Any suggestions on solar? Well, one 400 watt panel is going to be 65 plus or minus inches long and 36 to 40 inches wide. That's a pretty big ass panel. Unless you got room on the roof to throw it up there to get it out of the way, it's pretty hard to haul around. That's why I think maybe the smaller panels might be more practical. They're more compact. They fit in more spots. So that's my thoughts on that. On the solar, solar panels, it's really odd. The landscape keeps changing. I was really happy, and I've talked to several people who had LG solar panels. Well, they don't make solar panels anymore. They quit last year. I used Silfab. That's a Canadian company. The other suggestion is probably don't cheap out. Don't try to go too cheap on your panels. If you can stay under $1 per watt, that's pretty good. If you can get to down around 60 to 70 cents a watt, that's even better, obviously. But I would stick with the name brand. Silfab comes to mind. Sanyo makes solar panels. Toshiba makes solar panels. There's another company out there, surprising enough, that makes solar panels. But anyway, yeah, don't cheap out on them. I guess is probably another good thing. Tom Downey says Lexel is the glue he uses. Yeah, so that's a latex glue, if memory serves me correctly. Let's see, $150 too much? Well, yeah, send me a check. $150 will go a long way. I don't know, I'm kidding you. All right, so I did get some responses to the questions of, advice to give. You would give either somebody contemplating getting an RV or brand new RVers that want some sage advice from gray-haired folks, or maybe not gray-haired guys, but guys that have been around for a while. And I got here's some great ones, some really good ones. First off, well, it came up a couple times. It looks like 3 times. Insurance. All right. Not every carrier sells insurance. Before you go and buy an RV, call your current insurance company and say, I'm buying an RV or want to buy an RV. Will you cover it? Okay. First thing. The second thing is it gets even trickier now if you're going to be full-time RVing. Okay. If you do not declare that you are full-time RVing and you have RV insurance, and they find out that you're full-time RVing and you have an incident, they will disallow your claim. You must declare to your insurance company that you are full-timing. The other side of that coin is the number of insurance companies that will cover people who are full-timing in their RVs is down to probably 3 or 4. I used to follow this thread when I was full-timing because I ran into this. A long, short story. I had Hartford through AARP, was saving a ton of money, was really happy with Hartford. I mean, Hartford has been in the insurance business since, almost before the dawn of time. And then in 2018, I changed my domicile state. And so I notified the insurance company, and they says, oh, well, that's all we needed. Your insurance will be canceled at the end of this policy term. We're not covering RVs full-time anymore. So I ended up going to Geico. And Geico was fairly inexpensive. It wasn't really cheap, but so insurance. Get your insurance stuff in order so you don't get surprised. I mean, one of the things about insurance is expensive enough as it is. But if you have to split it up between multiple carriers, it's going to get real expensive. Eric Meyer suggested tow insurance. I'm going to expand that to be roadside assistance. Get a good roadside assistance plan. A must-have. Okay? Roadside assistance, that includes towing. That includes lockout, gas delivery, things like that. Okay? But yeah, again, get it specific for your RV. You may find that your insurance company offers roadside assistance. But, just spend the extra dollars and go get RV roadside assistance. Now, this is not sponsored. Everybody, it's like Fords and Chevys. I've had really good luck and experience with Good Sam roadside assistance. Okay? But let's set some expectations here. And this always happens. It's happened to me. It's happened to people that I read about online. They get this roadside assistance. They get broke down somewhere. They need to have a tow. They need to have a semi-tow truck come and get them. And they wait 4 or 5 hours on the side of the road. Okay? Pack your patience when you break down. It's not the fault of your roadside assistance company. No matter how much you scream at them about you need to get somebody there right away, they're at the mercy of the people they contract to tow. Good Sam, Allstate, FMCA, any of these other roadside assistance companies that are well known in the RV industry do not own their own tow trucks. They contract it out, usually through a subsidiary underwriter carrier, which oftentimes turns out to be Allstate. But it's farmed out across a network like that. So pack your patience. Two feathers, never buy used. New, excuse me. That's not a bad, that's not a bad idea. Montana Boy Insurance, Vincent RV Life, buy used. So why do they say buy used? Because the first year of owning the RV is when most, not all, but most of the issues will crop up. And so somebody else taking care of that. And of course there's the whole The second you drive it off the lot, you lose 50% of its value. It's probably not quite that bad in RV world, but yeah, you buy a new RV, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you've lost 10% of your value. It's the same as with used cars and so on and so forth, used vehicles versus new vehicles. So I think that's sage advice. New tires every 3 years. I think that's a little aggressive. I would give you 5, but 6 would be maximum. And the 6 is the recommended replacement cycle for most RV tires. Now that varies a little bit. I mean, if you off-road a lot, if you go ripping down dirt roads hauling your trailer or your fifth wheel, or you drive your self-propelled on rough rocky roads, you want to keep an eye on your tires for sure, because blowing a tire will ruin your day faster than anything. Yeah, that's good, Tim, and I appreciate that. Find a group similar to this one that has the like-minded people to ask questions and bounce ideas off of. I'll tell you right now, IRV2 is a great forum. They have sub-forums around near every manufacturer, every model. You're going to find a sub-forum. You're going to find a group of people that are all into Newmars, and they own Newmars, or they own, Phoenix, or they own Montana fifth wheels, or something like that. And so IRV2 is the one that was my go-to. It still is. I still go over to IRV2. And that's a good place to start looking for information around specific models and getting in with the like community. And coming on this stream, which I think is probably very helpful. Because remember, this is a safe zone. This is a safe zone. You can ask any question here. Nobody will make fun of you. There are no stupid questions, just stupid answers from the host. Tom Downey. Buy quality. You will pay sooner or later. Absolutely true. I would recommend this. If you're new to RVing, if I was giving advice to a new RVer, first off, and I think somebody probably said this, Shakedown Trip from Eric Myers, that's a good one. Don't buy somebody else's problem, that's a good one. Okay, so I was just scanning ahead so I didn't step on somebody's great ideas. I would recommend before you go buy an RV that you rent one and try it out. If you have a family, go rent a travel trailer. It's difficult to rent a fifth wheel because they have specialized hitches. But go rent a bumper pole 28-foot travel trailer or 26-foot travel trailer and go out for a weekend and see if you really like it. Okay? Self-propelled. Rent one for a week. You might save yourself a whole lot of heartburn and a whole lot of hate and discontent when you realize the third night out that you got to dump the holding tanks for the second time because family is, using the toilets and the sinks like they're at home still. Maybe that's just not your style. Maybe you want to go back to living in hotels and traveling like that to Disney World and stuff. You can do that in an RV, and I think it's better. And, with the pandemic and everything that's just, maybe finally coming up in our rear view window here, RVing got super, super popular because you can control your environment. And I think that's always been a plus with RVing is to a certain extent you can control who your neighbors are. What I mean by that is that you go park in the boondocks, dry camping, off-grid, whatever the buzzword is this week, and you don't have any neighbors, and maybe that's a plus. In RV parks, you're going to have neighbors. In campgrounds, you're going to have neighbors. And maybe you won't like them all. That's just a fact of life. Vincent RV Life. Tom Downey, read your manuals. Absolutely good advice. Eric Myers, Tow Insurance, kind of went into that. Gary D, have a good RV friend. Yeah, look around your town. Find somebody, get on Facebook and see if there are RVing groups. There's the Good Sam RV Club that still has many local chapters, and they get out regularly and do group campouts and stuff like that, and are generally super fun people. My folks, my mom and dad, were part of the Good Sam Camping Club in Idaho Falls, where I grew up, many years ago. And they were really fun, great people. And they usually had a really good time. In fact, I think they always had a good time. Vincent says, as a newbie RVer, I got a ton of info from watching previous TR live stream. Great resource. Thank you, Vincent. I should say Bruce, but Vincent RV Life. I'm happy to have newbies come on here. In fact, my push is going to be to get more new RVers to join the stream, along with us old crusty cronies here, Tom and Gary and Eric and Tim and Kevin and so on and so forth, because we're a great resource, and I think it's one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately as I get older and grayer is how the younger generation tends to want to discount the older generation, and I'm sitting here thinking, boy, that's the stupidest thing you can do. What you need to do is find a gold gray haired guy like me that's your neighbor, that can keep you out of trouble on all this stuff that you're trying to work on or fix on your RV or make decisions about, or anything in life, really. Find somebody with gray hair to ask questions. Montana Boy says I build my own circuits to operate my generator, also my own battery maintainer as well. That's pretty cool. I've done a little bit of playing with that. I did a lot of remote control stuff when I was in radio. Remote transmitter operations, remote generator starts. Our station was the EBS station, so I had to be able to start the generator from the studio and those sorts of things. Yeah, we had a minor battery backup capability to keep things on the air until we could get generators started, at least at the AM. Those sorts of things. I'm a little late on that, aren't I? So yeah, it is time for the shameless plug. If you like this video, I appreciate it if you would give me that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Ring the notification bell. Lots of great videos still to come. Visit to my website, trbullen.com, is always greatly appreciated, as is your support through my Amazon store and the other affiliate links listed in the description of this video. As an Amazon and other affiliate, I get a very small commission, but you pay the same price. And yeah, your support is really helpful. It costs a fair amount of money to run a YouTube channel. And so yeah, any and every little bit helps. So thanks in advance. John Besmick, Hart Interface Freedom Series Inverter Battery Chargers, Freedom Model 25. Okay. Thanks, John. Join in next week. Let's see if we can come up with a plug-and-play solution for you. Camp Gore 1, related to the questions about newbie RVers or sage advice, I would say don't buy an RV that isn't programmed for ODB2. 96 or newer has ODB2. A lot of shops don't have ODB1. Yeah, again, if you find an old guy out there, he'll probably have the old ODB readers, the older ones. And the ODB1 and the older rigs really wasn't all that useful. It might give you a couple of codes. But ODB2 was a much more robust solution. But that's good, and what we're talking about is that there's the ability to plug meters into your vehicle, if you're not familiar with this, that will read the codes and stuff that are stored inside your computer and can give you troubleshooting or technical information that might help you fix a problem you're having with your rig. And Linda's point, Camp Gore's point, is that watch out for older rigs that don't have ODB2. In the ISO standard and in 96, it was mandated that all new vehicles go to ODB2 because of the expanded addressing. There's a number of reasons I could get into in very detailed fashion, but I won't. Camp Gore one, two feathers right. I know a guy that's trying to dump an old Class B for $30K that he knows has bad front end issues. Yeah, the other thing is if you're going to buy an RV, get it inspected by somebody that knows what they're doing. It might cost you a couple $300 for an inspector to come out and look at something. Spend the money. You will be better off in the long run. You won't get into an issue like what Camp Gore is talking about, where somebody sells you a rig that has problems that are going to cost $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 or more to fix. Oh, wow. I was way behind on comments. Okay. Great. There you go. Kevin's giving some advice on the no start for the Onan. He should know he's got a 4K Onan that he's been fighting for a while. Oh, yeah. Kevin Coop says, make sure you close the black tank handle every time and add a 6-inch clear on end of the hose connection. No before it blows. Yeah, I have a story about that. I was in Virginia. It was KOA in southwestern Virginia. I don't remember the name of it, but I'd been there for several days, and it was Friday, and so the weekender started pulling in, and Grandpa and his grandkids and Grandma pulled in, jumped out, go to get set up. The grandboy, he might have been maybe 7 or 8, something like that. Wants to hook up the sewer. I don't hear this. I'm just seeing this through there. You know, he's asking. Grandpa says, fine, take that lid off. And the little kid reaches down there, pulls that lid off, and out comes, well, you can imagine what came out. Just what's in the black tank came out and got over the poor kid. Well, he was mortified, you know, almost throwing up. I'm almost peeing my pants from laughing. But anyway, yeah. Know before you blow. That's a good one. Let's see. Montana Boy, catch Kevin Coop's comments. Spray starting fluid in it regarding your Onan 4K. If it starts, then it's the carb. If you can't get it to start and run, bet is replace fuel pump, then carb. If it starts and run bad, run 50 seafoam and 50 gas. So 50-50 seafoam gas for 15 minutes. But yeah, closing the black tank handle is good. David Cockrell. Insurance saved me. 2006 Cougar roof leaked, and they totaled it. Upgraded to a 2013 for $2,500. There you go. Montana Boy, that is correct about full timing. I was told that they will insure you if you are just using it for recreation. However, they won't insure you if you're living in it. Absolutely true. Be careful with your insurance. Two feathers. I bought a power bank unit that the generator charges when I make coffee in the morning. It charges all my electronics. I never have to use my solar. There you go. Two feathers. Been on the road for months and haven't plugged in at all. That's awesome. You know, I mean, that's great. Dave Cockrell, keep tire pressure in check along with brakes and wheel bearings. Particularly true, tire pressure. And in travel trailers, in towables, keep an eye on those wheel bearings. You know, the bearings and the axles are usually far enough away that when you're towing them down the road, they could be squealing like a stuck pig, but you wouldn't hear them. And a wheel bearing will ruin your day really fast in a towable travel trailer as well. A bad wheel bearing. And tire pressure, that's just good. Good preventative maintenance. And with brakes, of course, yeah, absolutely. But that's good advice. I see just we had a few new folks just jump in here. So I asked a question earlier. If you were to give an RVer, new RVer, some sage advice that you wish you knew when you first started RVing, what would that be? Go ahead and leave a comment over in the chat window. Oh, and as always, if you're shy and you don't want to chat online live, that's just fine. I totally get it. You're more than welcome to send me an email, trbolin, BOWLIN, @gmail.com. And I will work with you via email. And if the solution and questions are interesting, then I'll bring them back once we get things resolved and share it with the audience. So yeah, you don't have to necessarily use the chat. You can email me at your leisure anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as practical. Montana Boy. Yes, they use the local area tow trucks. We were talking about roadside assistance companies who know their ears and issues in that area. They're also trained for heavy-duty jobs so they won't damage your RV. Hopefully. And they're mostly, well, they have to be insured to have a state license. And I think all towing companies have to be licensed. Well, I think it probably varies by the state. But I know in Idaho and probably Montana and most states, they're going to have to be licensed by the state, which will require them to have insurance. Plus your vehicle insurance on the RV should cover damage if it was caused by the tow company. And then the RV company, then the two insurance companies can go fight with each other. Tim Myers, he says he's also on the Winnebago Owners Group, which is a subset of RRV2, as I mentioned, a good place to get good information. And he's also on a couple of Discord servers. Gary, in my retirement area, is an RV club. Oh, there you go. So they actually have an RV club there where Gary lives. And that's another good resource is to find RV clubs. Camp Gore 1 says, dumping a poo tank is quite a pleasure when you have a leak as you're dumping. Ask me. I have a video of my experience. Yeah, it's never pleasant. I did have a hose blowout on me one time, but fortunately I was at a dump station and so I could rinse it all out, and it was all outside the RV. Let's see here. Okay. Yep, that's a good one too, Tom. Chat up your local dealer and the local camping stores. They're a wealth of information. Ha! That's a good one, Montana Boy. I don't know if I'd heard that. My Class A motorhome RV. RV equals recycled vehicle. Yeah, talk to folks, for sure. Yeah, okay. Vincent RV Life, Bruce, Generation Young and Dumb. I was a charter member 45 years ago. Yeah, I was too. I think most of us here. New to camping, tent first. That's good advice, George. Yeah. But a lot of people are afraid to sleep on the ground. Camp Gore 1, I got my B and D mixed. The guy with the Class B tried driving this Class B to Phoenix last week, got scared for his life, and hightailed back home. NRVIA certified inspectors. They have a website where you can find a certified inspector in your area. NRVIA is the National Recreational Vehicle Inspection Association, I think. That one is really close to the RVIAA, which is the RV Manufacturers Association. I always get those two mixed up. Montana Boy, there are some good YouTube videos on owning 4000s nowadays. Yeah, there are. There sure are. Eric Myers, yeah, that's a good advice. Make sure that when you pull out, your water hose doesn't catch on the sewer handle. Want to know how I know? Yeah, I think we've all done stuff like that. My big thing is to put the damn antenna down. I had one of those old crank up antennas, and every time would always forget to put that down. I actually installed a little bit of a relay on it so that there was an alarm and a light. So if the RV started and the antenna was still up, there'd be a little buzzer. Oh, sorry, that would go off and remind me. Okay. TPMS, tire pressure management system, is a good recommendation for new RVers, or any RVer really, to keep an eye on those tire pressures. Pac-Man Bob, hi Pac-Man Bob, you're a new voice and we love to see you here. He wants to know what is the best chemical product for the freshwater holding tank to keep it fresh. There is a video on my channel called Sanitizing Your RV's Freshwater Holding Tank. I recommend you go watch that. The only thing I can recommend with a clear conscience is bleach, chlorine bleach, and that you sanitize your holding tank about once a year. That typically seems to be all you need to sanitize it. And if you follow the instructions in the video that are posted on my channel here, you won't have any trouble with your freshwater tank. It'll taste fresh and always be nice and clean. But annual maintenance on that freshwater tank by sanitizing it is basically all you need to do to the freshwater tank. And again, there is a video on my channel if you search for. In fact, I'll go pop that up real quick because we're getting pretty close to the end here. I usually try to keep these to an hour, but I will. It's How to Sanitize Your RV's Freshwater Holding Tank is the name of it. And let me grab the link here for you and pop this over here. And so there you go. Pac-Man Bob, the link I just posted is to the video on how to sanitize your freshwater holding tank. That should be all you need to do to keep it good and clean and fresh. I would not recommend adding any chemicals at all to your freshwater, period. The only time you should ever be adding chemical solutions or anything to your freshwater tank is if you're doing maintenance on it via flushing. All right, that's a good one too. Tom Downey, keep a reserve cash to pay before the insurance company rebates your cash. Yeah, and the other thing is, when you're on the road traveling, have a good chunk of cash with you, just in case you get into Podunk, Idaho, and they don't take credit cards, or they don't take debit cards, and there is no ATM, and you need gas, you need a tire repaired, you need something like that. Cash is king. I don't care how much plastic you got. You can get in spots in Idaho and other places in the world where a piece of credit card, a piece of plastic isn't going to get you very far down the road, but cash will. Two feathers. Don't put toilet paper in the black tank. Yeah, that's really good advice, and in fact, that's advice I still give people. Now, everybody has their own sensibilities, and I'd understand that, some people don't like poopy toilet paper in the garbage can in the bathroom. So, everybody has their own sensibilities, but if you want the easiest way to keep your holding tanks fresh and clean and running good, don't put toilet paper in them. But I totally get it. Sam Allen. To Tom Downey, good advice to keep enough cash to self-insure against inevitable breakdowns or other issues. Don't want to add insult to injury by having to use credit for repairs. That's a good point. In fact, We could talk about whether it's a good idea to pay for maintenance, buy a maintenance contract or self fund it. Now, I self insured when I got mine. And anyway, we'll talk more about that later. It's getting pretty close to 8 o'clock. I'm going to try to get caught up on the comments here. Montana boy. Black tank servicing equals chatting with a politician. Yeah, there's more truth to that than we want to admit. Tom Downey says Barb and he started with a motorcycle and sissy bar and a sleeping bag, then moved up as the kids came. Tim just posted a link to the NRVIA Association's located inspector. I hang a cord on the antenna crank. Yeah, I had seen other people do that, Tim or Eric, but I'd always forget to put the damn, thing on there to remind me until I knocked it off the top and I replaced it with one I didn't have to crank up. But I will say that the alert, once I put that on, once I put the little relay on, I didn't leave it up after that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, guys cranking up their antenna, hanging a cap or something on the handle when the antenna's up to remind you. Yeah, that's always good. The best way to... I freely admit I did not manage my antenna well at all. Best advice, TR's method for black tank maintenance. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Montana boy. Yeah, I used a magnet on the metal arm of the antenna once I had a reed switch to tell me it was in the clear. Can't believe that did too there. Good job. Yeah. Yeah, I just put a little rolling relay switch, and so when the antenna came down, it tripped that switch and it, basically kept it from shorting to ground. I was just using a ground signal. You're welcome, Pac-Man Bob. Glad to help. That's why we're here. Yeah, and borax is good for keeping the poo tank from not smelling. Montana boy, cash don't work when when there's no internet. I think you meant credit, but maybe you meant cash. Toll roads like cash, true. It's not the TP that causes the stink. It's the TP that causes the tank to not flush properly and can add to the stinking by not flushing the tanks properly. That's our point. Is that it just accumulates and sticks on the walls and stuff and starts them stinking faster. Montana boy. Eric Myers was in East Arizona, blew all airbags and needed 4 tires, accepted no checks or credit cards. This was the first trip I took cash. Cost was $5,600. Yikes. Yeah, that's a good point, Two Feathers. Speaking of cash is king, it ain't worth much if it's burned. Get a fireproof safe, yep. Oh, okay. Well, Tom Downey says Lexel wasn't water-based, it's urosomatic. And yeah, but it's not solvent-based. It's a urea glue. Yeah, the toilet paper just makes it so you have to flush your tanks more, is all. Okay, we're at 8:04. Looks like we still got about 20-odd viewers. So we'll stick around for a couple more minutes. I know there's a little bit of latency in the stream as people join. They, they might be 3 or 4 minutes behind, where we are real time. And so I'll hang out for just a minute, ask any more questions. A reminder that if you would like, you can email me, trbolin@gmail.com. Thank you, Craig. That's George, a.k.a. Dad, for the email. I saw that pop in there. Thank you, John. Yeah, 5,600. That's a lot of cash to carry. I'd be careful, you know, because of this. I don't know. Shut up. The last time I made any kind of a comment related to anything other than just RVing, I lost 7 subscribers in one video. So I guess I learned my lesson. Don't comment on political or social things. You'll peeve them off. Good night, George. Yeah, I know it's 10 in the East Coast. Appreciate you coming in. Oh, that's a good one, Gary. I like that one. Things we made for our RVs and how we made them. Excellent suggestions. Thanks, Gare. You're welcome. Thanks, Kevin. Enjoy those grandchildren. Camp Gore 1, they do have those toilet vents that you can install on the roof. I have one, but I need to install it. It's like a fan, I believe. Yeah, keeps the smell down. Yeah, it's a positive, just draws more air off the holding tanks. Oh yeah, you don't have to do anything like that, Montana boy. It's just we appreciate you being here. But yeah, if you want to super chat or donate or whatever, it's always greatly appreciated. But yeah, we're just happy to have you here. Have a good security system. That's a good suggestion, Eric. I'm going to put that on the list as well. Okay, last call. Any more questions, comments? All right. Tom Downey, there is a problem with campgrounds reservation on the internet. I don't know, not that I'm aware of. Recreation.gov for all of the, nearly every state, federal, BLM, BOR, Bureau Reclamation, Corps of Engineers. They're pretty much all on recreation.gov at this point. I can tell you right now that 3 of the top 10 busiest campgrounds in the world that are hardest to get reservations for are right here in my backyard. Thanks, Montana boy. It's sure nice to have you here. All right, we're going to call it good. Thanks so much, folks. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you next Tuesday night for show number 100. That's right. We got our 100th live stream. Will be coming up next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. I'll see you here. Until then, peace. Good night. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, lawsuit. Montana. Oh, the changes for the show. Good night, Montana boy. I'll tell you what, keep your money. I'll come up your Missoula one of these times and we can go fishing. Good night, Linda. Good night, Tim. Tom. You guys are the best. We'll see you soon. Bye.